Good morning. It's Jake Mace, the vegan athlete, and it's really early in the morning, which is the best time in the Phoenix area to garden because of the cooler temperatures. Everything is just so nice in the morning time. It's just got a nice energy, a nice chi, and a nice feel to it. There's a lot of jobs that need to be done this morning in the garden. So this is going to be a video where I'm going to show you 3 different jobs that I do pretty consistently in the garden, and I thought you guys might want to come along for the ride and experience them with me. So look at this bed right here. This is a new bed that I'm growing things in for the fall. And everything I've planted in this bed I've grown from seed. And you can tell there are some beets here. These are beets. There are some cucumbers here, looking very nice, getting ready to send off their climbers to climb this trellis. And then there's some volunteer cilantro, parsley, and volunteer carrots. But I planted the beets. I planted the cucumbers. I did not plant anything else. So we have to do some maintenance here. If you guys see with this little cluster of beets right here, see this? There's way too many beets in this cluster, and potentially having this many beets in one spot might force the beets to be smaller. And it might enable one beet to take over, and the other beets might suck energy from that main beet. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna thin out the beets and leave the best, healthiest one, which is always the hardest part as a gardener, because when you grow from seed, you feel like these are your babies, and you don't want to kill any of them, but we got to be a little bit like Spartan warriors, and if a baby is born that's subpar, we kill that baby. Okay, so we're going to kill this beet right here. You can tell there's a couple that are very nice looking and a couple that are subpar. So this one laying on his side, trying to get sun, he looks great. He's definitely better than this one, and so I'm going to pull this guy out, and I try to just pinch and pull them off. And then what happens is I have a bunch of beet greens, and then as I'm gardening, this is my food. I don't waste beet greens. They're like microgreens, super healthy, and that way I'm being a true vegan athlete. I'm fueling my body with healthy vegan foods that's going to make me a better athlete as I'm gardening. Okay, next we got some smaller ones in here. We're gonna pull these guys out. Sorry, little guys, you were taking too long to grow. That guy, for some reason, is a little spindly one. This guy's subpar. And we're left with a choice. Got some more beet greens to eat. They're really good when they're young like that. They're like very tender, and they taste like really healthy salad greens. Now we have a choice to make. We have 2 beet green plants here left, and we have to choose. We want this one or this one, and they look pretty similar, so it's a tough choice. I think that this one to me just has a nicer structure to it. It looks like he's growing very uniformly. It looks like he has nice dark leaves. So I'm going to eat this one and leave the other one. And I try to pinch it like that, and I try to leave the stem and leave the roots in there, so as the roots die, they biodegrade and give nutrients for the guy that I left. There we go. And now see how he's leaning on his side? I might just do a little bit of a pack and just kind of just touch a little bit of the soil around him. Pack a little bit, not too much, just a little bit, just to enable him to stand up a little straighter on his own, and then as the day goes on here, he'll right himself and it'll look pretty good. So that's what I do. So I'm going to do this with every cluster of beets in this raised bed until there's only 1 beet per 6 inches of space, because I found that beets grow best if they have their own 6 inches to grow up big and strong. They don't need a full foot, just 6 inches is fine. I've already thinned out the cucumbers. If we go over here, our second job is going to be in this bed. And what's happening in this bed is that there's a lot of things going on. My goal was to only have broccoli planted in this bed. And so this is a broccoli plant I grew from seed. This right here is a broccoli plant I grew from seed. This is a broccoli plant. And this is a broccoli plant. I have them about every square foot because broccoli becomes a much bigger, larger bush, much larger plant. But for some reason, and I don't know why, there are tons of tomatillos in this bed. And I've grown tomatillos in the past, but I've not grown tomatillos to where the tomatillo fruit has come out and it's gotten mature fallen off the tree and the seeds scattered. I think my tomatillos were all eaten by me. I don't remember leaving any of them in the garden, but nevertheless, they're growing here. So I know for a fact that tomatillos become very, very bushy. They also can climb a trellis. And so they're not really fitted or not really well suited for this bed during this season. So I gotta make a choice. Do I leave these nice looking tomatillo plants? Do I try to dig them out and save them? Or do I just clip them and let them become mulch for the broccoli? Well, I think I'm gonna save a couple. This one looks so nice, the structure is so good, and there's nothing else around him. And so I think I can take my shovel and I can actually go in the soil, pull out this tomatillo plant and save him. So we'll do that in a second. Next, we have to thin out a lot of stuff in here. So look at this right here. If you're in the Phoenix area, you have this problem. You got palm tree shoots all the time. And there's no way to block weeds like this in your garden. You gotta just pull and pick. So I just pick this guy out and throw him aside. Over here, I have a second problem with a second kind of weed. If you look above me, you'll see this amazing mesquite tree up here. I planted my garden in this area on purpose because this mesquite tree helps to give some diffused light and some much needed summer shade for my garden. But he also throws off his mesquite pods all over the place. So that's what these guys are right here. These are mesquite trees, little mesquite trees that have grown from seeds that have dropped in the garden from the guy above. So you always know they're mesquite because they have a round, circular, oval leaf, and they're very symmetrical. And when you pull them out, between where the root is and where the stalk is, there's always a little knuckle. See that little knuckle right there between the root and the stalk? That's always on mesquite. So I usually just leave these guys on top and let them become mulch. And this is a mesquite. That guy's going, this is a mesquite. And so I'm always picking out mesquite weeds, trying to keep my garden looking nice, because if I don't, those mesquite little plants will rob energy from my broccoli. So anything like this, that's little tomatillos that haven't yet come about yet, that are too small to save, I'm gonna just nip them. These guys, I might save them. I might save that guy. But these guys over here are definitely too small to save, and they're just too packed into everything else. So we're gonna be digging some of these guys out of here and just clipping them with my fingernail. Mesquite. So constant maintenance in the garden is key. Thinning out things that you don't want and taking the weeds out that you don't want and leaving the stuff you do want. So every season that goes by in my garden, I have an easier time gardening because things just pop up. Like these tomatillos just popped up. This is a tomato plant that somehow just popped up. The broccoli I planted, but these are carrots starting to grow up here. Carrot plants, and also some dill. This is a dill plant right here that are just popping up. If you guys see this one, this will become a huge dill plant. And so I like this kind of gardening where plants I've grown in previous seasons have gone to seed. They've seeded themselves, and now the seeds just pop up as long as there's water there. So it's a pretty cool way to garden. And the third thing we're going to do this morning is we're going to go over here to this bed. These right here are my cucumber plants. They're looking really nice. I grew these from seed as well. I think that these cucumbers here are called Sikkim cucumbers. They put off a brown, kind of rusted looking cucumber. The cucumbers on this part, on this trellis, are called lemon cucumbers. They put off a circular cucumber that looks like a lemon, tastes like a cucumber but looks like a lemon. Back there are Japanese burpless shoyu cucumbers. And the ones back over here are just Market More 76. So you notice I've staggered the planting so that these plants are a week behind these plants. Those plants are 3 weeks behind these plants. So I'll get different stages of cucumber ripeness as the season goes on. I don't want to have all my cucumbers ripening at the same time. But I did a video that was an exclusive video series for the online school crowd, whoever joins my gardening school at jakemace.com, about how to get rid of pests in the garden. And aphids are always an issue whenever I grow watermelons, zucchinis, or cucumbers. I've noticed that aphids don't normally attack my tomato plants, things like that, but they love cucumbers, anything with a big leaf like this. And so this is about a week in to me discovering there was aphids on my cucumber plants. And there's a few things you can look for to know that you have aphids. Number one is there's ants crawling on the leaves of your plants. Typically like this little guy right here. If there's an ant crawling on your plants, an ant on your plant, that means you pretty much have aphids, because the ants like to eat the poop that the aphids crap out. Okay, they eat the discharge. Number two is that you'll see some of the leaves, especially the leaves that are the older leaves, starting to curl in on themselves, and they look kind of like they have polio. And what that means is that the aphids are on the veins underneath the leaf, and they're sucking the energy from the leaf. And third, you'll see them, visual confirmation. And so I'm looking here this morning and I don't see very many, which is a good sign that my methods have been working. But I know I'll find a couple for you. So let's look right here at this leaf. Nice big leaf right here. If I turn it over, you guys will see there's a few aphids on there, and there's ants eating the poop. So that's an ant, and that circular little thing is an aphid. And aphids always look different depending on what they're eating. So you might have an aphid that looks yellow, or white, or brown, or green, or black. It will change the color depending on what it's eating at the time. And so I've noticed on these leaves, we've had black aphids, green aphids, and white aphids. Now you could just take your finger like this, get it nice and close here, and you could just flick them off like that, but they are kind of sticky. They don't come off. So what I do is I take a hose like this with a pressure nozzle on it. If you guys want to stand back so that the camera doesn't get wet. And I take the hose, turn it on, I blow the aphids off the leaf. And the goal is to be sensitive enough where you don't hurt the leaf, but you do spray all the aphids off. And that works for me. I do that morning, I do that in the afternoon for about 3 to 5 days, and by the 5th day, the aphids are all gone, they've gone somewhere else. And so let's look at this leaf down here. Gonna hit that one, let's look at this leaf here. Hit that one. And the second place aphids like to go is right in here. They're little bastards, they are. They like to nestle in the new growth, and that will prohibit the plant from growing any taller. So normally I'll find one aphid or so right inside the tip where the new growth comes out, like this guy right here. Look at this. See, there's a little aphid right there. There's an ant, and there's a little green aphid right there inside the growth tip. That guy's sucking the energy from my baby. Okay, so we're gonna blow this guy out of here again with the water. So it's a little bit of a tedious method, but really organic, and the plants get watered at the same time. So I'll hit these growth tips, and I'm telling you, I wasn't very diligent about it, and about a week, 10 days ago or so, I found a few leaves that were just completely covered with aphids. There was no way you can see cucumber leaf. I started the water method, blowing them off, and now, a week and a half to 2 weeks later, we're good. They're all gone. And my plants look very healthy. The leaves are back to looking great, and these cucumber plants will continue to grow all the way up this trellis, and in about a month from now, I'll have cucumbers just hanging off this trellis. So those are the 3 jobs that we're doing today in the garden. And just to let you know what I'm growing, I got this whole bed full of carrots here that are coming up about 2 or 3 weeks in here, maybe 3 weeks in. These are purple carrots, cosmic purple carrots from the Baker Creek Seed Company, rareseeds.com. This bed I'm saving for Ashataba that I have in the refrigerator right now, which a video is coming up on how to prepare and plant the seeds for Ashataba. This bed is also carrots with a lot of beets that volunteered in there, and I put a goji berry in the middle of each of my raised beds there. We've got this bed full of cucumbers and purslane, and over here we're growing a whole raised bed that's in the ground full of sweet potatoes. So all these greens are these purple Okinawan sweet potatoes where you can eat the green like spinach, you cook it like spinach, and you can also eat the purple sweet potato tuber that grows under the ground. They're an amazing green that a few of my gardening friends shared with me. And then if I come over here, I'll see in the morning time, like this is a stem from one of the sweet potato plants, and it's growing his leaves, but next to him is a mesquite that's sucking the life out of him. Die, mesquite. Get out of here. I throw him back on top to use as mulch. But this guy right here, that's a purslane. And purslane's a welcome weed. That will be an edible, rich source of omega-3 fatty acids for my salad. And what purslane looks like when it gets bigger is like this. Right here. This is a more mature purslane plant. And they get nice looking leaves like this, and this is one of the coolest plants for a gardener, especially in the Phoenix area, because it needs very little water, and these purslane have omega-3 fatty acids in them and kind of have like a juicy, succulent kind of feel, but they taste like a spinach, a little bit like a little spinachy tasting. They're a good addition as a garnish on salads. And lastly, before we cut this video off, I wanted you guys to follow me, and I want to show you one of my special edible trees. Come here. This is my absolute favorite cherry tree for the desert. I first heard about this tree from Seamus O'Leary, and to date he still has some of these available. It's called a Acerola cherry or Barbados cherry tree, and I've noticed that over the course of the year, this guy fruits consistently over the course of the year. Maybe 1 month will be flowers, like these cute little pink flowers, and 1 month will be cherries. And this is kind of like a week of cherries. I ate half a dozen or about a dozen yesterday. And now you can see how this one branch here is just, or this whole section is loaded with cherries. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Another one down here, 7. And if you look back inside the tree, there's 8 right here underneath here. See that one? And then back over here where the pond is, there's even more. 9, 10, 11, 12. 13, 14, 15, 16. There's a lot of different cherries, and what you want to do is you want to wait till they're very red. So let's find a ripe one and I'll show you what they look like. This one right here is pretty good. See, that one is kind of dark red, almost like a dark purpley color. Hope the camera can pick that up. When I pick it off, it barely needs any kind of touch to come off. And people were asking me on Facebook, you guys go to my jakemace.taichi Facebook, or if you email me at the jakemace.com email system, ask me questions, I'll try to answer for you. And they were asking me, what does it taste like? They've heard it tastes like a tomato or like a tart cherry, and I've noticed it tastes just like regular cherry, but better. I don't taste any tomato when I taste these guys. It just tastes like a delicious sweet cherry, but not like a typical cherry you would find in the store. A little different, but a good different. I mean, it's just like dessert. I might as well be eating dessert. It's so delicious. And apparently the Acerola cherry has more vitamin C in it than almost any other food on the planet. So I'm going to eat my breakfast here. Hope you guys like this video, kind of a long one, but I think some good information for you about gardens and trees. Hit the like button for me, subscribe to my channel, make sure you guys go vegan and grow your food at home, because you can be eating delicious vegan food in the form of Acerola cherries if you guys grow stuff like this. This guy's was a $45 tree I got in a 3-gallon pot. That was about a year and a half ago, maybe a year ago. No, about a year and a half ago. And now from a 3-gallon pot to this in a year and a half. I'll see you guys back here next time.